Steven, from someone who is alive and breathing, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
I'm ready, dude.
So, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of We Got Next. We're going to cut straight to the chase with everything. You already know the rundown. We're going to start with our hot take and review the week that was. Then we're going to get into some of the finance things because y'all know what's been happening with Bitcoin. And then we're going to go into sports and do one of our new sections that I told you all about last week. And it's going to be for the next 8 weeks. But without further ado, so with the spaces, the past 2 weeks I've been having on different Bitcoin NFTs on the show. They've been doing well. So thank you to everyone that has been listening to those. We're going to try to keep it up next week as well. We had a lot of good dialect on the show. That's the best way to put it. So for those that have not listened to it, the spaces should be pinned to the top of my Twitter. And with that being said, Steven, how you been?
Yeah, I've been busy, man. I was in Orlando all last week, basically from Tuesday. Left here Tuesday at 7:30 in the morning, got to Orlando, was way there for work, which is good. It was hot down there,
Mm-hmm.
very hot in Orlando, and humid. And then I got home 1:15 on Saturday morning. And I was supposed to play golf, but I couldn't justify doing that. And then the wife was a little under the weather naturally, so your boy's probably next. Um, so I spent probably like 9 hours at the pool Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. Just like with the kids, like solo dolo dad at the pool for 3 days. Had to do a party in the neighborhood. Told you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Went to a brewery, which for someone who doesn't drink is kind
The
of
hell
kind
is
of
that?
whatever. But hey, that's what we did on Father's Day, so that was something. Um, and then yeah, work this week, man. Playing catch up is a huge pain in the ass. We've all
Mm-hmm.
been there. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
6 meetings yesterday. Couldn't do shit. Um, so that's fun. Rain. It's supposed to rain for the next like 2 weeks,
it
bro.
is. I know.
Um, um, yeah, like that's a long time. It's gonna rain for a
They
long
get
time.
these random spurts.
Yeah, and it's like not even like warm. It's like it was like 70 today, which
Mm-hmm.
sucks. But yeah, your boy's just been busy. We got a swim meet this weekend. Um, my wife's family's
Early.
come to town starting on Saturday, I think, maybe Sunday. And then we have my wife's family reunion next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend down in
Mm-hmm.
Cambridge, Maryland, at the it's like a nice Hyatt down there, all that kind of good stuff, a little bougie.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but my wife's family is like 23 women and like 10 guys. So we're gonna be outnumbered by a lot. So that should be fun. But yeah, your boys have been busy. Boys
So
been busy.
I got a question for you as the one that has kids. There's this one lady at her job on my team who essentially is getting over a sickness, and she says it always ends up seems to happening before like a vacation, or they
Yeah.
all end up going out and then they'll get sick. Have you noticed like a trend or a certain wave that happens in terms of how y'all get sick, when it happens, what
Yeah.
happens?
I mean, kids are sick from like January 1st until December 31st. It's just a constant thing, dude. It's a constant thing. Um, like there's always something going around, and it's just a matter of time until your kid gets it. Now some of it impacts kids a little bit differently, kid to kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, during the summer, not usually sick because they're not like if they are somewhere, they're usually outside with kids or whatever, like not in school, touching shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens. Yeah, it happens all the time. Like we're going to Mexico in a month, and I can almost guarantee that something one of the kids will be sick, or I'll be sick, or Brooke, or something. So yeah, it happens all
Mm-hmm.
the time. Vacations, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that's a pretty constant thing. Kids are just always sick. I mean, always touching shit, putting their hands in their mouth, like doing shit they shouldn't be doing. Always like on top of their friends. Yeah, it's annoying. it's
Yeah.
very, it's very annoying.
Yeah. So
It's
that's
like
why
it's
I
just a matter of
asked.
time till it's like a time bomb going up in your house. It's like a week, and then like next kid has like the sniffles, cough, and
Mhm.
then a week later it's like you or me or Brooke is doing the same shit, and then a week later, and it's just like everyone's just dying in the house, and just like it's just slow. Like no one's happy. We haven't been outside in like 3 weeks, running out of food. Just like bodies, like everyone's just it's not good. And like, that
Oh
takes
my
up so
God.
much time. That's like a month. There's like a month of like you get sick and then everyone's recovering. It takes a while, dude, to get the family of four back in order. Yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah, it does suck. It's very annoying.
So I brought that up because something else that's annoying, it's on a deeper scale. I heard about this maybe 2 or 3 days ago. For background context, if you haven't heard about one of the popular stories that Netflix is smiling and doing the Birdman hand movements for, is this submarine that apparently went down to the Titanic. And the weird part is, so you have to pay $250,000. Five people went along, including like the person that had the video game remote control, and there's no windows. So you're looking at the Titanic through a screen as well. And you can't open the submarine from the inside, it can only be opened from the outside. And they showed kind of the waves and everything because it's essentially around the Arctic Ocean up there. And they had to get Canada and the US Navy involved because it's over there in that random area. The only way for you to be able to locate the submarine right now that's been missing, and it essentially only has like 4 to 6 hours remaining from the time right now, is you have to use a sonar. Then once you find this, track the submarine in the sonar, then you have to have a crane go down in the water. Then at that point, you have to then have a robot attach the crane to the submarine to then pull it back up. And it's deeper than 10,000 feet, they said, with all of that. So, what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yo, like I don't even know
First
what to
off,
say. I
I'm
don't
not
even
spending
know.
$250,000
Like
to look at
I
the sub.
I so I started reading up on the story and
Mhm.
I stopped because like none of it makes sense.
No.
I don't know how like in the right state of mind you can agree to get into that thing and they're like we're just
Mhm.
gonna drop you in the ocean and like good luck with
Yes.
your hopefully your remote control doesn't disconnect because then
Hmm.
you're fucked. Like
Yeah.
they're just using a Xbox controller, like basically, like to go down and like it's like 14,500 feet is where the
Yeah.
Titanic is.
Yeah.
Like like that that's so far down, and the fact that this isn't like did you see the video? The guy who was like signing the papers and he was
Yes.
like, this can cause like basically death. And he's like, yeah, sign me up. What?
Hmm.
Why would you agree to go on this thing? Like, I get it. I get the like the Titanic and like the nostalgia of it and like wanting to see it and like say that you did it. But like this thing was just made like over the weekend. It's like back in the day when you put together like a Pinewood Derby car or some shit like that. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh, I mean, I don't trust this thing to save my life. Like if I get crashed or whatever. But like I just like I'm trying like not to laugh because it's like a serious situation because these people are gonna die.
Bro,
Like they're gonna
this
die,
makes
right?
no sense.
Like they're
Yes.
gonna die.
They're gonna implode. This is
Like they're
gonna
gonna
happen.
die.
They're gonna lose oxygen and everything.
They're done. Like they're done.
Yeah.
They're done. Like there's no way these people are gonna be saved. Probably.
Oh,
Like there's no way. Like
no.
there's
Like,
like
when do
this
you give
crane
up?
is yeah, you're done. Like you have to know. Like at what point, at what point when you're going down, like, are you like, oh my God, we
Hmm.
are not going back up?
No.
Where's the disconnect? Like, how do you just like not, how can you just like not come back up? Like, how's that possible? I don't understand. Like, and then like you have to know that's a real possibility. Like, there's a very good chance. Like, if you're when you're stepping foot into that thing, which I saw is no bigger than a minivan, what?
What?
And they're sitting like crisscross applesauce the whole time. Like like it's not like you're like sitting up and like a regular like submarine. You're like hunched over for like. I mean, I mean, there's like I don't know. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I'm gonna
It's
be
batshit crazy. It's batshit crazy, dude. Like you couldn't pay me enough to do that. It would have to be like you gave me $1 billion a month to do that for the next like 20 years. Like it has to be something absurd. can't believe it's a real thing.
So I'm
It's
reading something,
like,
and they said U.S. Coast Guard says additional noises heard today in area where Titanic sub went missing, but it's unclear what is causing it. And then someone put a picture up of 5 killer whales banging on a pot, and I'm just like, you don't real. Someone said I think they're making all this up, and the people have imploded by now because I don't. You don't
and
know.
also, I talk about this every time I go to the ocean. You have no idea
None.
what's down there. You know what I mean? Like you have no idea what's out
None.
there. That's like
None.
when we talked about a long time ago getting lost at sea. I'm done. I'm just gonna end it. There is, dude. It's so dark. It's so like you have no idea what's like outside of your little tube. Could be just like the biggest creature that you're. They shit, dude. They might have been eaten. Well, I don't fucking know, right?
Bro.
Like they're probably dead, which is tough. But like, why? Like, why?
Nobody is down there.
Nobody's
Nothing.
down there,
There's
bro.
a reason.
No one's gonna
There's
save you. No one's saving you.
Save you.
Like, what is
And
like
the
people
crazy
don't
part is,
understand this?
apparently they had to sign a waiver
Yeah,
that
and the guy
death
was like,
could
"Yeah,
be a risk.
yeah." He's like, "Well, sign me up. Oh, what do I sign?" Like, what are you talking about? What are their families saying? Like, what is going on? Why are their
And what's
families
wild
not?
is one of the stepkids went to like a Lincoln Park.
Yeah,
Or
no, and he threatened to shoot up the concert. Did you see that part?
no.
The billionaire who's on that sub right now, his son, I
Mhm.
think it went to a concert and got charged with something. I think that's what you were about to say, right?
He said that my family would have wanted me to be at this concert.
No, okay, so he got charged with like assault or something like that, and then he threatened to also shoot up, I think, an EDM concert. You need to look that shit up.
What?
I saw that a couple hours ago. Positive, because I've been trying to follow this thing pretty spot on. It's a wild scenario. It's wild what's going on. And this has been like a 2-day, 3-day thing.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
when did
no
this start?
food. What?
Bro, you are
How
losing
long?
oxygen. You are losing oxygen, and by the second, you are you have no food, you have no water. You're just like you're going to go absolutely insane.
What do you do? Like, I'm really trying
Nothing,
to
bro.
think.
Nothing.
This is worse than jail.
And it's probably shit is pitch black in there. There's no lights, nothing. I bet it's either like it's pitch black and you're just sinking to the bottom of the ocean, basically. I guess like I don't get how what I just want to know why they can't come back up. Like what's causing them to like not like is it were they gonna come back up via the crane that we were talking about? Or
That's
like
a
was it
great
goal like
question.
we're gonna go down there like a regular submarine like you've seen James Cameron do and just inch that bitch back up to the surface. I mean, they're just sinking to the bottom of the ocean, dude. And it's
Yeah,
either pitch black or they have a light that's like the a night light, and they're just fucked.
I'm
So
really trying to figure out. Like, we could talk about this for hours, but I'm really trying to figure out how or why they can't come back up. Because was something
I
supposed to be hooked on the whole time, or did the controller like lose batteries? What really happened? And my other thing is, why are you going to go down there? Because you know what you're going to find. You're not going to find anything good. You're going to find
yeah,
ghosts and
you,
other shit.
you're gonna see a fucking like a 100-year-old ship and just fish and like other
Yes.
creatures. That's like insane, dude. That is insane to think about. That five people. It's 5 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 people are like, yo, they're probably sitting at a bar one day. They're like, yo, I have a dope idea. Let's do this. Like, let's
Mm-hmm.
build this fucking tin can submarine that can't do shit. Larry's got his Xbox controller. Throw some double D batteries in there, and let's get
How
to
do you
work.
test it? How do you test it?
Bro, it wasn't approved. It's not an approved like device, like thing that you can go and do that.
This is only the third time. It's not like they've been practicing this. So
Bro,
here's the thing. You're pretty good at math. This is the third time it's gone down there. Last year, they said it got lost 2. So 2 out of 3 times.
And like, yeah, like you can't test it. It's not like
No.
it's not like the Navy tests this shit, and it doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense why a human being would want to do this and be like, okay, cool, I'll pay you 250 grand to die. That's basically what you're paying for. Just you're paying for a sunken death, and they ain't coming back.
Mhm.
That's
And this is
absolutely wild.
legit what their job is. So they say since May 2021, they've done 50 test dives to depths equivalent of the Titanic, not the Titanic, equivalent to the Titanic in deep waters off of the Bahamas
Dude,
and
they
in
probably just
pressure
dropped that shit
chambers.
and they probably just dropped that shit in like in the Olympic sized pool and said, "Cool, we did it." Like there was no
Exactly.
like they're not going in the ocean. They're not dropping that shit in the ocean because then you would have realized like, well, this isn't gonna go well.
No.
But
So
yeah, that's fine. Five suckers.
when do you end up realizing, okay, you know what? This thing isn't going back up. Like when do you tell someone? How do you end up realizing it? Do they think they're still going to come back up?
They probably know, dude. At this point, it's been what, like 3 days? At this point, they're all going nuts. They're
Mm-hmm.
going insane. They have zero communication with the people up there.
Your
Zero.
phones don't work. Nothing
Nothing
works.
works, dude. You're thousands of feet deep in the ocean. Thousands.
Mm-hmm.
And like and dude, they might not even be like in that area. Like
No,
that's the thing. Like you gotta think about like the water can like just take you. And like who knows where they are?
I know.
Who the fuck knows where this fucking tin can is right
Yep.
now on the globe? Nobody
Mm-hmm.
knows. Because the
Yeah.
sonar that they have, if that shit worked, they would have found them by now. But like if you
Mm-hmm.
find them, okay, let's just say this. Let's just play this out. If you find them and you thought they were here, but now they're over here, how are you gonna get like over here and go like they're gonna just keep moving? They're done. They're done.
Yes,
Done,
I
bro.
know.
Done.
So they said Netflix is having a feast because this is going to be the next Netflix series or documentary that they have. So that's what
Unbelievable.
I wanted to bring up there. On a more
Unbelievable.
lightning and exciting type of news, a weird change of subjects, but Bitcoin cracked over 30,000, which was something that was big that a lot of people were looking forward to. If you looked at various different charts, you saw this was happening, and this will end up touching on some other things that I wanted to talk about. Ethereum hit over 1,800. They were sitting at 1,900 for a second, which is another big thing that I was excited about. And people are probably wondering, all right, you're saying all this, but where did it end up coming from? So big time names. And if you all remember, probably in 2021, I had to write a paper on like BlackRock. And I mentioned some of it on the show that with BlackRock, they were very much focused still on Bitcoin and different things of that nature, ESG, Bitcoin, and finding out ways to use Bitcoin and invest in Bitcoin. Well, BlackRock, Invesco, and Fidelity have all filed ETFs, Bitcoin spot ETFs. What does that mean? So they have future Bitcoin ETFs. I had the pleasure of being able to talk to the different people at ProShares who were the first to end up having a Bitcoin futures ETF, but that tracks and monitors and predicts the future price of what people think. Spot ETF is very different. So what it'll open up to is Fidelity, who a lot of people know is one of the biggest investment firms that are out there. Fidelity will end up working with different custodial brokerages such as like Coinbase, and they will purchase a lump sum of it. Then you would be able to end up purchasing your portion of Bitcoin. So you'll end up holding it, but it's buying and selling Bitcoin so often and so much. People have different points of view on it. Some are excited about it because that means that they will have their opportunity to gain exposure into Bitcoin and in their different 401ks. Would I take advantage of it? Yes, absolutely. It's just free money that you can end up doing it with. But on the other side, people that are in the decentralized component of it don't necessarily like it because that means it won't be decentralized anymore. If you have BlackRock, who has over trillions of dollars in assets, they're going to then be able to predicate and control the price of Bitcoin going forward. Could be good or bad. Clearly, that happens. If you even give a kid like so much freedom, some shit's going to happen. That's why they have parents. That's why they have adults, because they need to discipline them at times or keep them in certain confines. So there's two folds to it. I'm excited for it because we clearly see what the price is. And the more important part about this, BlackRock has only been denied once when they've ever filed an ETF. And the way that they were rejected or denied with that ETF is not even coming close to kind of this. They had certain expectations that they both wanted. One side wanted quarterly filings, one side wanted daily reporting and filings. This is totally different. So with this one, a lot of people are excited because they think it will happen. On top of that, Fidelity is working to gain control of Grayscale. And Grayscale was one of the first that kind of did something similar with different cryptos such as Bitcoin and then Ethereum. So we'll see how that ends up going, but I'm excited for it. Don't get too much into this euphoria because we are still in the 4-year cycle. So we know that next year we have the Bitcoin halving, which is an important event within the Bitcoin cycle. And then the year after that is when we normally see things. So we still have 2 years to go before we see the blow off top. Some people are predicting that by the end of this year, we'll see 42,000. Then they think by the end of next year, we'll see 80,000. Then by 2025, we'll see 120,000. If that happens, you probably won't be seeing me anymore in the world. I'll, of course, still be doing the podcast, but I just won't be any and everywhere. Because the other part about this with the financial component, I've been thinking about this for a while. So the money that I make off of like season tickets and stuff, I was just going to throw into Bitcoin. So you're telling me if I end up putting enough in there to even have like one Bitcoin, if it went to that, that'd be kind of dope. So that brings to the next story of I still will get pissed every single day about not having an ordinal maxi business. And remember, I just told you all that Bitcoin is currently sitting at 30,000. Well, one OMB is currently sitting at 3 Bitcoin. That means one artwork that I showed Stephen before is now sitting at sitting at $90,000. 90,000. So it's insane what that can do. But for those that are out there wondering, all right, hey, so you've seen all different types of animals, shapes, colors, things of that nature on your PFP. I did get a DGOT again. I got it in a weird way. I tried to do a blending, aka blur lending. So I have one. I'm going to see how far this goes because next week we're supposed to get some announcements within the DGOTs community. We'll see how that goes. I'm also very hopeful on what OXBT is going to be doing. So that's why I still have a shit ton of money over there. But just finishing all this up, Jay Powell did say that rate hikes are not over with. The rate hikes will continue, but we just have to see what the state of the economy does going forward. Amazon Prime Day is going to be on July 11th and 12th. So for everyone out there that loves Amazon Prime, that's something to look forward to. And the final thing I want to touch on is Uber. So there is apparently a European Uber bot that will start delivering self-driving your food to you in Europe. Of course, Europe is always the test model for these things, and they bring it over here. But if that kind of works, that's really going to change the game for Uber and anything that Uber or those different types of DoorDashing companies do. Because you don't even got to pay nobody. You don't have to tip a robot. Like, you could just end up letting that thing go to you. Of course, they're not going to do it from, let's say, something I have and deliver it to Steven. The robot's not going to be able to do that. But if it's like down the street or something, I think that's kind of dope. But a lot of people always bring this up and just look at what the downside can be because we saw what happened in iRobot. And the future is going towards iRobot. And that's what's wild. They always say these movies are so futuristic that it's going to predict what is going to happen in the future. A lot of it is coming true. If you look at what happened in I Am Legend, we essentially had that with COVID. Then we have this happening that's very similar to iRobot. So we'll kind of see how that ends up going over there. I want to now switch this over, move the money to the other side of the money. And we all know what happened with Messi, but Messi's set to make his debut on July 21st. People were booking those things up left and right. Wild part is, Steven, so tickets, and I was talking to one of the homies, Bison. He has season tickets down there. He said his Atlanta United against Inter Miami tickets were going for $30 before Messi got signed to Inter Miami. He was able to sell those for $250 just because of Messi. That's insane. So he said he paid off half of his season ticket fee just from that one game alone. I can only imagine what tickets are going to be like next year just off of this because Messi is making like $53 million. And that's just dependent on what happens with Apple and what happens with Adidas. So that was that one. But I want to get into a conversation that you're probably looking forward to. And we haven't talked since the championship or these trades or another trade that just happened. And they're really making me mad with all these big three talk. But the first one I'll bring up is Kristaps Porzingis. What are your thoughts on him going to Boston, Marcus Morris coming here to just lose his career forever, and then Malcolm Brogdon going to the Clips?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's good for them. Porzingis, if he's healthy, I mean, he can be a real asset, but he's just never
Mm-hmm.
healthy. I was really disappointed that it didn't work out in Dallas for him. So I thought that would be a good combo. But if he can stay healthy, I mean, that's a good weapon to have. He's not going to be the Porzingis that we saw before the knee injury, but he can probably still be like a 20 and 10 guy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he can go off of one of like those 30-40 point nights too. So I would say like that's what you're gonna get. I'll gladly take it. Um, yeah, good for Brogdon. He had a good year with the he was on the Seas, right? He was on the Celtics, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good year. He banked on himself and did that. Um, did you want to talk championship?
Yes. So we knew that that was going to happen. I
Yes.
guess I personally thought that they'd potentially win it on the game. I made a bet that it would be +2. I mean, -2 in terms of the Nuggets. So I knew that they were going to win at least 4 something. But I didn't know it was just the Heat got one game. They didn't even get that one game at home. They got it in
Yeah.
Denver.
Jokic is like he was just too good. I
Bro,
mean,
Jokic didn't even care for anything. He just wanted to go be with his horses.
yeah, he did. Um, Yeah, he was just too good. Like, and the Heat were just not. They just weren't a good team. Like,
Mm-mm.
they just weren't. The Nuggets have been probably the best team all season, start to finish. And
Easily.
when they got by the Lakers 4-0, I know the Lakers weren't what we maybe thought they were going to be, but when they got by the Lakers 4-0, I was like, it doesn't matter who they're going to play. Celtics or the Heat, doesn't matter. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
run right through these teams. So that's not a surprise. I guess maybe a surprise that they lost the game, but Jimmy Butler needed to go for like 40 a game. Need to go
Yeah.
on some like D Wade type of shit. So not surprised about that. Have you seen the pictures of Victor Wembanyama and his hand sizes and everything?
Holding a baseball. Yo, he
Bro,
looks so weird holding a baseball bat.
bro, like it's like I just found this rock on my desk that my son gave me. It looked like
That's
basically
what
that.
it
You
was
couldn't
for
see the
him.
ball. And
That's
then
what it
he
was.
do you see the ball that he threw into the stands? Just nuked a line, like just threw a fastball into the stands.
What?
Um, and then did you see the picture of him? He was on the JJ Redick podcast. You see the picture of
He
him
was?
sitting next to JJ Redick. JJ Redick's
No.
like 6'3", I think. I mean, the dude's just he's just a monster. He's like 7'6". And then have you seen the picture of him and Gobert sitting next to each other?
Yeah, I've seen
Gobert
that.
Gobert's like 7'3". I mean,
Yes.
this kid's
Wemby makes him look small.
nuts, dude. Um, so
This man
the
has to
draft
duck
is
wherever he goes. It don't
no like the draft. When is the draft anyways? It's coming up soon, right?
think tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow? Wow, who knew? Um,
Bro, why did he get on a metro?
I think you're
No.
just doing the tours of New York. Like, I guess you gotta ride the subway.
Oh, that's
Um,
why. Yeah, it has to be tomorrow. It is tomorrow. But that only
yeah,
makes sense why all this New York stuff is happening with him.
yeah. But yeah, not surprised that the Nuggets won. Jokic dominated. Um, the random question that I was talking
What
to,
the heck?
what
Bro,
the pictures?
JJ Redick has his legs crossed and everything,
Yeah,
and Victor's knee is above his legs.
yeah. He's a big dude, like large individual. Um, where would you put Jokic right now on like the best athletes on the planet list? I was talking about this with someone at the pool over the weekend, and I said the best athlete, like by far, is Shohei Ohtani. My man is on a
Yo,
absolute tear right now. Absolute tear.
he's different.
He's got like 9 home runs in the last like 14
What the
games.
fuck? I just saw him throw the first pitch out.
Yeah. I mean, it's like someone who's 7'5", whatever he is, should not be allowed to do that. It
No.
looks so weird. He's an alien. But I said Shohei Ohtani is by far the best athlete on the planet. Mahomes probably is like maybe the next one. Um, Messi, maybe Connor McDavid from the NHL is probably
Mm,
on that list, but short list. No one really in golf. Shout out to Wyndham Hotels or whatever who the guy's name was
mm,
that won the U.S. Open. What's his name? Something Wyndham, right?
yeah.
Um, anyway, yeah, just a random conversation I had with someone about best athlete on the
So
planet right now.
honestly, I've seen a lot of. This is the only reason why I appreciate. Oh, Wyndham Clark. The only reason why I appreciate sports betting is it keeps me engaged and focused on
Oh,
baseball.
hold on. Time out.
Uh-oh.
Time out. Did you see that you can now bet on the Special Olympics? Bro, the Special Olympics World Games are coming up soon. And I saw a
So good.
Forbes article, and I'm like 100% sure that this is a legit thing. I had to double, triple, quadruple check the source and confirm some things with some folks. But it's a real thing. You can bet on the Special Olympics. Like two or more people in a sanctioned event should be bet on, and they were like, "We don't want the Special Olympics to be any different." So we can move on from that though, because
Yeah.
that's I don't really want to comment on that. But I don't.
Any
I'll
type of
nope. Let's just keep moving on. I'll say some shit that I don't want to say. So just keep moving. Get some shit to get me canceled, get me in trouble. Want to talk about the AFC North?
so the final thing we have to talk about before we get to the AFC North is CP3.
Yeah.
A couple of different things with that. One, because they're saying CP3 is essentially going to get bought out or something because they're talking about the Lakers, the Clippers, those different teams will be the ones that are going to go after him. But the whole thing of the trade was Bradley Beal is going to end up going to Phoenix. No, it's not going to make them a championship contender. Look at every single team Kevin Durant has been on within these different big threes, and he hasn't done it. He had a solid team in Oklahoma City. I don't count Golden State. That team was a championship team before he got there. The
Right.
Nets, look what happened. Then now this. First off,
He's never on
you
a
got
team
to
that
hope
plays
Bradley Beal
defense.
is wants to play.
Yeah, he's never on a team that plays defense outside the Warriors. But again, they were already like established team. So he just like none of the teams he's been on outside of them have ever played defense.
No.
Like, sure, you can score 110 points a game probably, just like the three of those guys, but like you're gonna give up 130 points a game probably because
Yeah.
you're giving away all their draft picks too.
They're giving away draft picks. Then on top of that, DeAndre Ayton's not going to be there. I don't care what anyone says. If you look at the amount of money that they're spending, they can't legit have him on the team. Technically, they're saying they have less than maybe $5 million to spend to fill out the rest of the roster. So you have to get everyone on the minimum, like the veteran minimum, the minimum,
The
the
minimum.
two-way league contract. You can't get anybody that's worth it. So now you're telling me KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. That's what you're doing. Again, I personally still feel the Nuggets can beat that team. If they keep their team intact, Jamal Murray can still guard one of the two guards. Again, put Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon on the other one. They're not going in the middle to be a Jokic. So then what's going to happen? So it's not going to be one of those things. CP3, I just feel bad because you just see anyone that gets shipped to Washington, your career's over.
Yep.
That's kind of
Yeah.
how it is. So his career, just consider it, he's on the downside of his career with all of that.
Yes.
But the topic I want to bring up, because I was talking to somebody at work, and then I was also talking to the homies in my NFT communities
Shout
because
out
we
to the
said
homies.
this month and next month are like the dog days of sports. There's not really that much. Baseball, you can be cool and all, but it's the dog days right now. So we're going to do some for like the next 8 weeks, and it's going to be covering a division a week. I talked to Steven before the show, and this week it's going to be the AFC North. So what we'll do is just kind of like flip back and forth. So next week we'll do the NFC North just to match it up to keep it simple. But for anyone that doesn't know, the AFC North, that's the Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns. Two teams made the playoffs from that division. That was the Bengals and the Ravens. Bengals were 12-4, Ravens were 10-7. The Ravens were at the top of that division until everything that happened with Lamar Jackson, but also the Cincinnati Bengals went on an 8-game win streak to kind of end their season. So they were 4-4. They won 8 games. That's kind of how it happened. Since this is your division overall, what are your thoughts? Kind of who would you say is that team to watch out for? Any exciting players in that division? Give your full thoughts and we can kind of start breaking it down.
All right. So I think the Steelers are going to be better than people think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm not completely sold on Kenny Pickett, but I do love who he has around him. Najee Harris, They got Allen Robinson, Pat Fryermuth, good at tight end. George Pickens, Deontay Harris. That's a pretty good receiver room. I do like the pickup of Allen Robinson. They drafted Broderick Jones, left tackle from Georgia in the first round. He's probably not going to start, but he's going to play. TJ Watt, if he's healthy, he's a top 2, 3 defensive player in the league. He was leading that way last year before he got hurt. And you look at, they got Patrick Peterson. I know he's older, but he's still, probably got something left in the tank, a couple picks maybe. Minka Fitzpatrick is one of the more underrated players in the league, I think. He's always in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. And then you got my guy Joey Porter Jr., who's going to be the starter, getting a lot of love out of camp so far. So that's dope. Having Pat Pete as your OG is probably dope as well. So he's going to learn a lot from him. So yeah, I think the Steelers are going to be better. It's all obviously going to hinge on Kenny Pickett, but he's got a lot of talent around him. So that's good as well. Ravens, Lamar Jackson fiasco is resolved. I think everyone thought it was going to be. Took longer than expected. J.K. Dobbins, if he's healthy, that changes the entire team. That makes them
keyword healthy.
Yeah, keyword healthy. He's got to be healthy. Got Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know what that means for the Ravens. Odell he did not play last year, right?
No.
Okay, so he had the year off to get healthy and everything. So we'll see how that goes. They have Rashad Bateman. Whatever. We'll see. Zay Flowers, they just drafted. So they have some talent at receiver, but I don't know what you're expecting from Odell Beckham. You expecting an all-pro season? What are you really expecting? So there's that. Obviously, they have Mark Andrews, they throw him the ball basically every time. But if that offense can be what it was when Lamar Jackson, before injuries and whatever else happened, league MVP, number 1 seed in the AFC. So there's that. Bengals, probably the team to beat, obviously, with Joe Burrow. He's a NFL, he's an MVP caliber quarterback. Joe Mixon. Wait, who just retired? Joe Mixon, right?
Didn't Joe retire?
I thought there was a running back who just retired. Oh, no, dude from the Bucks, I think. Giovanni Bernard. Did he just retire? Didn't he just retire?
You can keep going. I'll look it up.
Anyway, Burrow, Jamar Chase, obviously one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the league. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, still a really good room. Irv Smith at tight end. They have Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle. Jonah Williams at right tackle. They have one of the better offensive lines in the league. Defensively, they're super solid. Don't have anyone that really is like Giovanni Bernard retired. All right, so that was close. Basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Giovanni Bernard.
Shout out.
So Bengals, I guess, are the team to beat just because of what they can do offensively. Shout out to Joe Mixon for not being retired and still being on this team. So that's dope.
His stuff just became quiet, if you realize that.
Yeah, Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just chilling, He just totes the rock, and they have so many other guys on that team.
No, I'm saying that whole situation at the corner. With like the gun and stuff. They kind of just said, "Hey,
that's whatever.
Just shut up. Don't talk about it.
Just chill." And then you got the Browns. So I think the Browns are a wild card because you have a very, very good offense. Like Deshaun Watson, the quarterback. If we're strictly talking on the field abilities and not the baggage that they bring to the team, Deshaun Watson is Deshaun Watson. He's an MVP caliber quarterback as well. I think he can do very similar things to what Jalen Hurts can do. I think he showed that in Houston before his life spiraled out of control, but somehow he's still in the league. Nick Chubb is one of the better running backs in the league. Probably top 5
Solid.
league. Top 5 back in the league. Amari Cooper. People forget he's on the Browns. Cooper's nice. When he's on, he's on. He's one of the best receivers in the league. They got Elijah Moore. That's a huge pickup for them. Massive pickup. So that's good for them. Who else they got? Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yep.
He's not gonna be an all pro, but super solid. So I think the Browns can be definitely a wild card in the AFC North and the AFC in general, if obviously Deshaun Watson is the Deshaun Watson that we saw when he was in Houston before things got out of hand. So I think if I had to pick a winner, I'd say the Bengals just because I trust them over any other the three teams. But this has definitely the chance to be the best, by far the best division in the NFL with how good all four quarterbacks can be. With Kenny Pickett probably being the worst quarterback out of the four, I think would be safe to say, but he can still put up crazy numbers and still be the fourth best quarterback in the division. So if I had to pick one, I pick a final standings. I'd say Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, Browns. But it's going to be, I think all four teams will be over 500.
You think how many teams do you think will make the playoffs?
Oof. I think two, maybe three, depending on I think depending on the Steelers. I think they could win 12, 13 games. I think the Steelers could with their offense. If Allen Robinson is healthy, that's the other thing. If Allen Robinson is healthy and you don't just have Pickens and Deontay Johnson, I think the Steelers can be a really, really good team, especially with Freiermuth, Najee Harris, Kenny Pickett not throwing picks and doing all that stuff. If Allen Robinson, I think he's probably going to be a huge X factor, aside from like TJ Watt being healthy and all that. If Allen Robinson is healthy and they have three really good receivers, like productive receivers, I think that puts them maybe over the Ravens. Because I don't know what to expect from the Ravens receivers. Like I know what to expect from Deontay Johnson. I know what to expect from Pickens now if he takes that next step. Allen Robinson, we know he can ball. He had the injuries and everything, and it didn't work out in where was he just at? Chicago?
No, he was Los
LA.
Angeles.
Yeah, with the Rams. So but if he can, find his groove, I think they can probably be better than the Ravens. But the Ravens have Lamar Jackson. So like that's a huge wild card as well. Huge X factor. But I think the gap between the Ravens, last thing I'll say, gap between the Ravens and the Steelers is not that big. So there you go.
So I'm gonna hit my popular.
That was
Bayless.
some shit right there. That was some shit. I just
So
went through every team, just top to bottom. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm gonna be Skip Bayless. Are you finished?
I'm finished.
All right, my turn. So just analyzing everything within the division, and I love talking. I was excited when Steven brought up the AFC North for different reasons. One, of course, we know where Steven's allegiance lies, and then the Ravens were kind of like I followed every single thing they did. So looking at everything, and I was scrolling through all the divisions. There's maybe only 3 or 4, and that's pushing it. That you could say every single team is kind of solid. There are some divisions out there where you're like, I don't even know if a team should make the playoffs. But with the AFC North, just looking at it, the Bengals and Ravens, they have to joust for numerous different reasons. One, because Joe Burrow is saying, I should be the highest paid quarterback in the league. So they're going to ball. You still got Jamar Chase that's there. He should be 100% after like the injury he had last year, still him recovering. Solid. They have all 3 receivers still because they have Boyd, they have Chase,
Higgins.
And then they have T. Higgins, who T. Higgins feels he should be number 1 receiver too. So you have them 3. Then I think they have Hayden Hurst, who should be their tight end there. So you have all that.
Irv Smith.
That's who it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have Joe Mixon that's in the backfield. And Samaje Perine, who's there as well. So if Joe Mixon ever decides to mess up again, you have Samaje that's back there. It's just James spelled backwards. But going into the next team, Baltimore Ravens. There's so many question marks with them because if Steven remembers just as well as I do, back in the day when the quarterback signed his big contract, they sucked. So you never know if that curse is kind of going to come back and Lamar Jackson is not going to be. If Lamar Jackson gets injured, they are going to say, your ass better be out there. Like, there is no if, ands, or buts.
No.
But they're banking a lot on Odell Beckham being somewhat Odell Beckham. He's not going to go back to his Dallas Cowboys one-handed catch, Odell Beckham. But he has to be solid for them to end up doing it. For those that don't understand the Dallas Cowboys one, it was in the end zone with the Giants and his famous 3-finger catch. How do I know when that happened? Because I had him on my fantasy football team that year, and his points spiked through the roof when that catch happened. But going into the defense is another thing. So this is one of the first years that the Ravens splurge on offense. So that was kind of important to see what they did there. One of them running backs got to stay healthy. Mark Andrews can't be the number one receiver, and that's what they're hoping. If OBJ can at least be 50% of who he is, it'll just make Mark Andrews that much better. Zay Flowers is the other one people aren't talking about, and you kind of need to end up thinking about, will Zay Flowers be legit, like Percy Harvin legit, or will Zay Flowers just be like the unknown person that played for the Vikings and played for the Eagles legit? So we'll kind of see how that ends up going. Over there at Steelers, we know every year the Steelers are going to compete. We've seen under Mike Tomlin, it's going to be above 500. The Browns, I don't know, all four quarterbacks are solid. If Kenny Pickett is the worst in that group, that is solid. And they're all good in different ways. It's not like you have 4 pocket passers or 3 on the move quarterbacks. All 4 of them are different. Joe Burrow is not going to be your one that's going to run. Lamar Jackson's first thing is take off. Deshaun Watson, his Dabo used to say he was the Michael Jordan. Yeah, so it's one of those of, you really don't know what's going to happen. I love it for different reasons, because I don't think whoever starts off number one is going to necessarily be number one the whole year. I think you might have people like jousting. It will be those week 17 games. So I've noticed it a lot of years. It's always Ravens Steelers, either like week 16, week 17, week 18. And I don't think it's going to be any different. Those games are going to play an important part. Another thing that's going to be important that is very different than other divisions, those cold ass games, because those stadiums are outside. So that will make a big difference. You keep getting these country boys and these boys from like the South, those games will affect them. So I don't really know how it's going to go. I can agree with you that I think their division, the AFC North, is going to be very similar to how the NFC East was last year. And I can see all the teams finishing at least 500 or better. I don't think there's going to be a tie like how the Giants and Commanders had that time, but I could see them all finishing above. I'm going to go with the Ravens for the top. Only reason is the Ravens lost that spot because Lamar Jackson got injured. Nobody will ever know. And this is what I love about the sports, but I hate about it at the same time. Nobody's really going to ever know how injured Lamar Jackson actually was. Lamar's not even going to tell you how injured he really was. Lamar could have probably maybe played 2 games after that game. They're not going to tell you. They're just going to say Lamar Jackson is our quarterback. And that's kind of what they're going to leave it at. So
only in sports.
Only in sports. Because the moment something happened at my job.
No shit. If I'm going to be out, if I'm going to be out for a while, they need to have medical records. They need to know everything that's going on with my body, all the tests I'm getting done, everything, bro. They need to know top to bottom, and they're going to be doctors about it. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no, we're going to keep it under wraps and stuff like that. So
you got to let HR know. You got directors know. It's just,
you have to get it approved.
No,
it's not one of those things of you can just end up saying, all right, this is how it's going to go, and you don't have to say anything. No, you got to get all of that approved. But last thing I want to talk about before we get into the what you got. So for everyone that's keeping track of this, the first week we did AFC North. Next week is the NFC North, because I've noticed some people listen to this later on. And for those that are probably like, Hayes, why haven't you been putting it on Spotify? We're going to get back to Spotify. I was looking at that, and we're going to start putting it back on Spotify. But the final thing I want to bring up, only in sports, because this is not happening at my job, is the whole Zion Williamson situation. I don't want to talk about necessarily all the pregnancies and the different women and stuff. I want to talk about the fact that they got her kicked off of Twitter. And that's only in sports, because if some like that was happening with me, I can't be like, yo, Elon, I don't know who someone get her off. It's going to be, no, we're going to keep airing it out. It's going to be out there for everyone to hear. They got her off of Twitter. So then she went to Instagram or something and started leaking other stuff. But it's now to the point, I don't know if it's going to happen. It's probably rumors to make the stock go up and down for Zion. But they were saying that the Pelicans are done with all the off the court drama and stuff, and they need to end up shipping him. They were saying he might go to Charlotte. Why the hell are you going to put LaMelo Ball and Zion Williamson together? That don't even sound like a combination. So y'all both just going to be injured? You're never going to have anybody playing there. That's not going to work. But have you had any thoughts, takes either on Zion himself, Zion trade, or the blockings that are happening on Twitter?
It's so
Only in
sad.
sports.
Only in sports, bro.
Only in
I'd also
sports.
be fired on the spot.
Yes.
I'd be fired on the spot.
Yes.
And like it would take a while probably to get another job because of like all the baggage. Nope. He's gonna be if he's healthy, he's gonna be starting game one and
Yes.
acting like ain't nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucked. I mean, his career the
The
peak
career
of
that could
Zion
have been.
Williamson. Yeah. The peak of Zion Williamson was what, like 2019, whenever that was.
Dog.
Like
That
that's it.
first game he played.
We've seen prime. No, his prime was at Duke.
I
Like we've
know.
seen prime Zion Williamson, and it was
His
dope.
prime might have been high school.
It was dope, like to see that. But yeah, I mean it's a very
Who had a
unfortunate.
shoe?
He did. Yeah, he blew out the shoe because he's such a big dude and so
Yes.
forceful. Like that's why. Like he's so
Yeah.
big. Everyone was like, "Oh, the shoe was messed." No. He's just a massive human being. That just
Mm-hmm.
is what 6'8", 280 pounds.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
unfortunate, dude. So unfortunate that his career just him and John just can't
It really went
even
down.
can't even talk about John Morant right now.
No,
Can't
let's
talk
not
about
do
that.
that. So my last two things in terms of sports, and we'll get into what you got. So quick takes. One, I don't know for anyone that's been paying attention, but Larsa Pippen, who's the ex-wife of Scottie Pippen, she's about to get paid off of Scottie Pippen's money. Meanwhile, she's dating Scottie Pippen's teammate's son. So that's another only in sports. My man, she was there's so much you could say about that, but that's when you're trying to end up just preying on someone's downfall. Yo, Scotty's over here catching strays for days from any and
Strays,
everybody in the world. There's nothing he can do.
strays,
And he has to give her money.
bro. He can't
Like,
say shit.
no.
Can't say
And
shit.
that's your fault. The other thing is, I have to shout out to Joe, the stadium guy, for end up giving me the insight on this. I told everyone I was done buying more season tickets. I end up buying 2 more. It's about to happen. You could probably guess who it is. So think about a quarterback that just got traded this summer and who is going to make the ticket skyrocket.
Garoppolo.
Hell no.
Who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
So
you buy
I end
Jets
up getting
tickets?
just season tickets. Yeah, so I end up doing
Wow.
that. We'll see how that ends up
You
going.
gotta let me know because I'm sure my brother-in-law would be down for that.
Yeah, so I have to talk to Mr. Richard tomorrow. But we were talking today. I wanted to research everything. It was that, believe it or not, it was going to be them or the Steelers. Because I was talking to this other dude for like Steelers tickets, and it seemed good. Only thing that made my decision easier, them damn PSL. So personal seating licenses are at certain stadiums. The Steelers ones are crazy. The Chiefs ones are crazy. It really depends on where you get them. You almost have to pay $8,000 to $9,000 for personal seating license. That's on top of the tickets that you end up paying for. Whereas all I had to do for the Jets, and this is what made it easy, the Jets say in order to get around the seating license, you just have to commit to buying 2 years worth of season tickets up front. And I'm like, Aaron Rodgers essentially promised them 2 years. So let me just do this for 2 years. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. The seating license, you have to pay off no matter what or try and sell it. So that's the
Mazel
difference
tov.
there. Huh?
Mazel tov.
Exactly. So what you got for everyone?
Nothing really, man. Like I said, just been busy. Um, Shout out to my wife for holding it down when I was gone.
Shout out.
Shout out. Shout out to Orlando. I don't want to go back.
But you
But
got
shout out.
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm not a big no. That's a no. I don't do Disney. No, overrated, overpriced. No, I don't do that. I was hot down there. That's not my thing. But shout out to Orlando. Appreciate it. Appreciate the hospitality. But yeah, just busy. Your boys all over the place.
Yeah. So mine, I'm gonna try not to throw too much shade, but there has to be shade thrown. Amex. I'm not going to say the full name so we don't get canceled, but Amex really pissed me off because I was trying to get another business credit card And they said, in order for you to end up getting 50,000 membership points, you have to spend $15,000 in 12 months. I was like, all right, cool. So like my spending limit's got to be kind of high. They're like, congratulations, you've been approved. All our spending limits are $2,000. What the hell? You know how long it's going to take that?
Jeez, bro.
You know how long it's going to take me to get to the $15,000 if I only can use $2,000 for my spending limit? And then I called them. I was like, hey, whatever, AI robot person, can I increase my spending power? Oh, unfortunately, since you just got the card, you can't increase your spending power until you get the card. Then when you get the card, you have to wait 3 months. How long is it going to take me to get to the $15,000 at that rate?
This is going to be
it's going to take forever.
You need to.
So
you
then
need
I
to
said,
keep us.
all right, you know what? I'm just going to use my other credit card that I got with you all. They're like, oh, yeah, you can use that, but you can't just increase your spending power through us. You just have to use it and it'll just go over. Then you have to pay it off by the end of the month. Right. Whatever. Sure. Cool. I'll just do it that way. But that's why I go with Chase.
You gotta keep us posted on your your rise to $15,000.
Yeah, I'll do that. Because 2000 is coming as soon as I put this down payment down on the tickets.
Let's do it.
That's going to be the first 2000. Then I'll have to figure out just put rent and other expenses down on it. But that's the only thing I have over there. Thank you, everyone that's been paying attention, watching, and listening. We're going to go into the dog days. We're going to have a lot more fantasy football talk and stuff. We really only need to get to July. Once July hits, we'll have all-star games happening.
And preseason football is right around the corner.
Yeah. So once we get to that, college football will be starting up too. But other than that, until next week in these dog days of summer, we out.
Peace.